Hello everyone. So for today I have a couple different things to work on, so it might be a bit and a couple shows for you. This is going to be a part of my DT design project this week, so I do need to do that sometime soon. This is called Leanna Scraps Fashion Inspiration. So I'm just going to quickly do a flip through. I was able to get it on sale, but I thought, ooh, this would do good for my next set of journals that we'll be working on. I'm not sure if we'll start on it the end of this month or not, but I have some sewing journals that I am in the midst of getting ready to do. So I thought getting some pages going and ephemera going for them would be a great idea. So we got that. And then this is Irresistible Prints Sewing Kit Journal. And I did not print everything from all the kits, just so you're aware. I printed out pieces with some of them. If there were blanks, I kind of didn't really do them. Some of them I printed too much of, some I didn't print enough. It was one of them days. These are journaling cards and stuff. Again, I printed a bunch, so I kind of, and I have more to print because I am going to more than likely mix and match all of these journals or pieces with different journals, hence why I'm kind of just like letting you know. And this is Digital Expression CA. I'm not too sure if I'm even what I'm using out of this, if anything, but I just wanted to let you see that you can buy printouts where it's just printables like this that you can play with and add as ephemera for different pieces. Again, I just thought this would be a lovely idea just to show you how to get some of them ephemera pieces sometimes. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, but so I went through my old sewing patterns and stuff and tried to find stuff that I had sitting. And this is what I had sitting. So I just cut this part and this part so then I'd make the journal. And I also cut out pages that would fit within the journal from the sewing kit or from the sewing patterns. And I admit, like, I lost some pieces over the years from some of the sewing patterns. Some of the sewing patterns came ripped up and stuff like that and didn't have all the pieces. So I was just taking stuff that didn't have all the pieces when it came down to sewing patterns and got it set so we can start making these into journals. I thought this would be just a fun project to do. I'm going to move this off to the side. We can actually start working on putting these together. Now I am using 9 by 12 envelopes for most of these. If I can open up the envelopes, and then I'll be sewing them around before we put them together. So I have again, I'm trying to space it out where I'm not doing this all at once. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are just, they're called Amazon Basics catalog envelopes, and they're 9 by 12, and they're peel and seal. I like using peel and seal instead of the kind where you don't peel it before you, the ones that you have to, or have metal pieces and stuff like that, I try not to get, just because if you don't have to deal with it, why buy it, is my whole theory. But I'll fix that in a little bit. And then I have this envelope, which is an old envelope that I had, and I was thinking that one that is kind of older and fragile, I'll probably put in this part and use it that way. So there we go on our 6 envelopes. I find doing this is gonna be way easier than having them hard to use and all that jazz. I wanted to come up with the easiest process possible for each of these journals. Now, they may not fit exactly perfect to this. Like, for example, this one. It ain't going to fit directly on here perfectly, but that's okay. Again, I do plan on sewing around these, so I'm not too concerned. I'm not going to be working really difficultly gluing these down. I'm just using glue stick because I will be sewing around these, so I don't feel like that is a problem. Now, if I really don't like the idea of all these spots being kind of left open and stuff like that, you can like do what I may or may not do. I don't know if I'm going to or not yet. Find something like a lace that would be easy to sew on the bottom and to sew across the top. And you could even do the same for down the sides. But I think across the bottom for sure would work well. So, but for right now, I am just mainly trying to work on, oh, I just dropped that, getting this completely ready to go for the journal. So there's a lot of prep work sometimes going into making these journals, like cutting out the ephemera, like gluing down this. It isn't so automated like some artists like to make it look like. I'll probably take these one at a time once it gets to the point of using them, but like right now, it ain't to that point. So again, I'm not being too particular with this at all. I'm just trying to put it down. And again, I'm going to work on sewing around it and everything. which is definitely going to change the outlook of how it looks. It just creates these covers that, again, I personally love doing stuff like this because I'm reusing. I'm not trying to make garbage or create an issue where there is garbage. You know, I like to point that out sometimes because a lot of people don't realize you could use envelopes that you get in the mail. You do not have to use brand new envelopes. And that's hence why I made sure I brought some of that. So I'm just thinking ahead with this one, because this one I'm gonna have to do some damage control on this one, but for right now, this one I am going to glue a little better. Not completely, but a little bit better than the other ones, just because it's going to be a little bit more difficult to keep this one from being wrecked even more. And again, this is just the first part of the process. I haven't even gotten to the rest of it. So what do you do when there's pieces that are just hanging off? You can cut it. I mean, again, I'm pretty sure I'm not the first one to try using sewing pattern for a journal. I'm just trying to come up with my own way because I realized there are ones that are falling apart. They're older. That's part of the reason why they don't have the pieces. Is because they were used. Beforehand, you know, that's where you kind of got to make decisions with it. Like this one had some water damage done to it, so I'm gonna have to create something around this. Maybe we'll do that a day here soon, because in order for me to sew around it, I'm gonna have to come up with something there. But I thought this would definitely be fun. Not the norm. That's for sure. Huh. It's okay if I use it that way because it really isn't going to matter. So if you didn't notice with this one, I didn't realize I did this until after the fact, but I glued it on the inside instead of the out, or use the outside as the inside and the inside as the outside, which is perfectly fine because it isn't really going to matter in the long run. Now this one does have gunk on it. I don't know how that ended up happening, but it does. So I might be able to clean that up. If I can't, I can't. But yeah, it seems to be just cleaning up on its own if I just pick at it. So we'll have to see how much of this gunk I can get off. But that was the point of me using these pieces, is to use up what I have and not again, I didn't want these things to go in the garbage. Like, who wants that? So I'm going to use this side because we want the other side to be blank. Now this one, I'm probably going to be, actually I know I'm going to, instead of cutting the pieces, oh, that just fell off. So instead of me cutting into the pattern, I am actually cutting into the pieces here. This is to thicken up this, not to thicken up the other portion. So there we go. We got all that nice, and again, this just thickens this part up because otherwise it was going to easily fall apart. There. Again, just because this is obviously very fragile and everything, I may even Mod Podge over top of this just to make sure it stays. Because again, it is a very fragile piece. Now this one is definitely much newer, and I understand that, but again, these ones that are newer, I probably got when I was 18 or younger. And I'm sorry, but I've moved multiple times since then. And there were times that, yeah, I lost pieces. It's okay. I think this one I might cut down to, I don't know. Probably not, just because why do that? But again, I know that this happens. Like, I don't think we all want this to happen. Don't get me wrong, but it happens. I have bought sewing patterns thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna have all the pieces to that sewing pattern that aren't brand new, and turns out most of them places that I thought I would have a brand new sewing pattern, I wasn't getting a brand new sewing pattern. I was getting a pattern that wasn't completely there. So, and again, I don't mind doing this just because I realize that, but I might just keep this piece because it might come in handy for something else on this pattern. So, again, I work hard to try to salvage what I can out of the sewing pattern. The patterns themselves, the pieces, everything. So that is it for today. Again, some of these we may be looking at again, just because I'm going to have to do something with this one and this one, I think, just because they're older and they definitely need something more. But these 4, chances are I'm just going to take a piece of fabric or lace and just sew that in on the tops and bottoms, because why not? They are, you know, this is what I'm calling sewing based journals, and I want to make it as sewing based as I possibly can. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day or night. Bye.